Everybody, welcome back to the Average Idiot Podcast, America's only, Eastern Kentucky's only, the world's only AI-powered podcast. Truly AI-powered. Hey, real quick, a friend of mine, Jeremiah Bannister, he told me some scientific facts, and I want to share it with you. If you drink coffee, the best way to drink coffee to get it straight to the dome is through a straw. Drink coffee through a straw, and it bypasses the blood-brain barrier straight to the dome. That's scientifically proven facts. Today in the show, this is a part 2, talking with the Boring Channel, the Impatient Channel, Lawncare Juggernaut. He's everywhere. And he's here with us tonight again as Kevin Hansen. Welcome back, Kevin. We're going to do this part 2 of kind of how life's been going for you and kind of a little bit everything. It's not really a scheduled topic. We did a little bit before, but today's a very, very important Today's very, very important is you met up with Antoine, I think his name was Anton, and he got a mower from you. You give him a mower.
More exciting than that, currently, I am drinking my Red Bull with a straw.
It's going straight to the dome.
Straight to the dome.
Bypassing the blood-brain barrier, scientifically proven, straight to the dome.
I'm kidding. My Red Bull's gone. I'm wishing I would have bought 2. It's a long drive, but I was like, if I don't buy enough, that'll give me an excuse to make a stop, and then I can go walk around at the gas station for a little bit so I stay awake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just got back. I got done in Louisville, Kentucky. I didn't get back from anywhere. I'm on the way.
Right.
Got done in Louisville, Kentucky, giving away the mower. It was an awesome experience. This is the second mower we've given away now.
I forgot. Chris was the first one.
Huh?
Yeah, I forgot you already gave one away to Chris. Man, I totally forgot about this. You got 2 more to give away. Did they already give you the mowers today at Hustler?
So the way it works is I got to get so far into the contract, and then I get, the next one, that kind of thing. So I've got a 2-year contract with Hustler, using their equipment, love their equipment, so it works out perfect. I mean, that's the main thing. If you're going to take a contract with somebody, one, make sure it's worth putting the handcuffs on.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put handcuffs on, it's like getting married, man, because you're signing a contract. So if you're going to get married to a company, you better enjoy that company. You know what I mean? If you're going to get married to a woman, you better enjoy kissing on that woman.
I agree.
So
100%.
Same concept. And, if it's a headache and it doesn't work out, don't do it. Personally, I don't think sponsorships are for me long term because I don't know, man. I just don't like the corporate thing, but that's me.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's whatever.
Yeah.
If I get to do really cool stuff like this, I'm down for that. What I'm trying to do right now is grow my viewer base on every platform that I can, as big as I possibly can, so that I can do stuff like not have to deal with the corporate BS of, they always want something petty. Like they'll want, they asked to review my content and stuff, and if they don't like it, they can take it down. I was like, yeah, no, that ain't happening.
And
I'm not doing it.
I would think that's kind of par for the course. I would think that's kind of par for the course with having a sponsorship, and that's like what you're kind of saying. You wouldn't have known unless you took it, but at least now you're able to turn around and help people. Like that's a good thing.
You gotta find out if you like it. So it was something that the only reason I took the contract was because they put in the 4 giveaway mowers. To me, that has so much impact that it is worth dealing with, corporate stuff. If they want to give me a mower, I don't care. I've got mowers, and I'm doing well enough. I can buy whatever mower I want. My credit's good, whatever. I can go out and get whatever I want.
Yeah.
Is a free mower cool? Yeah, I guess. You still got to pay taxes on it, so it's not free. And since I'm a content creator, there's strings attached. Like I got to create content, and it's what it does is it gets in the way of me going out and just doing what I want, when I want, how I want, freely. Like, I mean, you get what I'm saying,
No,
right?
yeah,
If you're,
I totally. You'll see whenever you watch this video back. I'm just over here nodding my head in agreement. Uh,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it go ahead.
having flexibility is powerful, especially when you're growing. So, like, for me, what I'm doing is I really don't care about sponsors. It's cool, and I think it's an ego boost. Um, but and it could be an added revenue source for a lot of people. But the problem is, I think you can tie yourself down just as quick, making that your revenue source versus just kicking ass at what you do. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? If I grow my audience big enough, I can do whatever I want. If I say I don't want that in the contract, guess what they do? They'll take it out of the contract, which is what I had the experience with Hustler. But the company's merged with another company, so it's more of a corporate atmosphere. Now they're requesting the stuff that I said, hey, I don't want that in the contract, and that's okay. It is what it is. They can request it, but it's not in the contract, so I'm not doing it. And that's the way it goes. Like I'll do
Yeah.
is like they want me to wear glasses and stuff. I'll do that. I mean, but I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that.
No,
I
yeah.
might have some arguments from the legal team at the company. I
Yeah.
don't want to burn my name either. Like, I'm not saying I won't play ball, but if it adds more work on my end and it's not worth it, like a lot of these companies, man, I've had offers from some of these big companies, and they're dumb offers. And here's the other thing: they act like the content creators don't talk with each other. Everybody talks to me. We all hear about, hey man, they offered this. What they offer you? They offered you the same thing. Why they offer? Like I've had several people say, why they offer you the same thing? Your audience is huge, right?
Right.
Well, it's because they're throwing out a pitch. Will they take it? No, I'm not taking your bait. I know what I'm worth. You better believe you better up that number. That's the business side of things.
Right. No, exactly. And that's kind of a good thing to where,
Damn it.
well, it's a good thing that your channel kind of popped before you got a sponsorship. Cause like hypothetically, you probably, if your channel wouldn't have popped beforehand and you did a deal with Hustler, you probably would have took whatever they offered.
I would have hated it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would have just hated it. I probably would have lost interest because I don't want somebody telling me what I can and can't say. Like that was something that ain't going in the contract. Let me just say what I want to say, have fun, enjoy my life, enjoy creating content. But if you have to worry so much about where your footing is and what you're doing, and
Yeah. No, listen, I totally understand.
too much nonsense.
Well, here's the thing too, is at one time I stopped totally 100% stopped reading any comments on my YouTube channel. Totally 100% stopped. And it's not because there were so many negative comments. It's just that one negative comment that the point is not the negative comments. It's what I'm thinking about when I'm creating the next piece of content. A week down the road, couple days down the road, I'm hearkening back to what someone criticized me on, or maybe they were wrong, maybe they were right. I don't know. But
Something gets in your head.
Something gets in your head, and imagine you signing your name to a piece of paper, and then all of a sudden now you're worried that I don't know, this ain't in the contract, but the lawyers might say X, Y, and Z. I hear, hey, I don't have a sponsorship, but I can see.
I didn't even want to take a sponsorship because I was worried. I was like, are people going to call me a sellout?
Oh,
Whatever,
yeah.
dude.
Well, see,
Business.
that's another point. That's another thing.
I went down and tried out the mowers. I went and did a collab video with Top Notch. I wanted to see if I liked the mowers, and I looked them over top to bottom. I went and cut with them, and dude, it's a good mower. It's a good product. And I was like, yeah, I can get down with that. Let's play ball. I don't like yellow so much. I like that they're adding more black to it. I think they look tougher that way.
Yeah, I'd love to see a black unit with yellow decals and yellow lettering. That would be dope. That would be super dope.
And he say Juggernaut on it.
And it'd say Juggernaut on it. Just how years ago, I know we're not trying to promote anybody else or talk about anybody else, but years ago, SG Ninjas, he got sponsored by Wright Mowers, and Wright Mowers made him a special mower. Not saying every company should do that or whatever, but at the time it was kind of cool and it was still fairly new, and that's been some years back. But yeah, if Hustler did a black mower with yellow lettering and decals and maybe even said Juggernaut become unstoppable on it, how easy is it to put a sticker on? Or give you the stickers, you put it on yourself. But a black
That
mower would
would
be
be
dope.
pretty cool.
Well,
You
that
know
even
what I would like?
go ahead.
You know what I would like better than a custom mower for me though
What's that?
is if they put that same budget in the wiggle room and gave me another mower to give away.
Yeah. Okay. That
You know
makes
what I mean? Like,
what?
it's cool, but give me that budget to give away. So I mean that's where I'm at with this stuff. I think it's what I'm doing may only be a short ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we're all living this small little moment in time anyways.
Yes.
But what I'm doing is just a short ride. So if I can create really cool scenarios that help people out, like this guy I gave the mower to, he really needed it. It's going to be something that it impacts his life and changes his life for the next 5 to 10 years while that mower is in great shape, and maybe it puts him in a position to create more income that he would have not had access to otherwise.
Yeah, let's go
And
in.
then,
Let's talk about that. What? How did all that whole thing go?
Huh?
How was the whole experience? I know I talked to him, and people who are listening. There's another. I'm gonna add that into the show, but man, how did that whole experience? Like, how was it? I bet that was beautiful. I mean, I'm sure it was beautiful when you give Chris the mower, but you already knew Chris. This is a guy you technically really didn't know.
That's the thing. I didn't know Chris.
Oh, okay.
So
I knew
I ended
Chris.
up
That's why.
giving Chris a mower, but you knew Chris. I didn't know Chris. I knew of Chris.
Okay. Okay.
And I kind of heard around the grapevine, and then, you know, I ended up speaking with him about the time I was working on the deal with the Hustler contract. And I believe he had a mower that got stolen. I know he had a mower that broke down, and then he was going to have the engine replaced by somebody that he found on like Craigslist or Facebook.
Yeah.
And then the mower got stolen, and it was a nightmare for him. And I was like, whatever, I'll hook this guy up. He doesn't know it's coming,
Right.
but I'm trying to get this in the contract. At the time, I thought it was going to be like one giveaway mower, but they offered 4. Like they just came right out the bat and was like, boom. And I was like, that's cool. That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm ready to work with this company. But going from that to like I said, I didn't know Chris. That's kind of one of the qualifiers that I do want is like, I don't want people thinking I'm just giving mowers to friends. Like I'm letting life lead me to find the people that need it. Now the next 2 mowers, the word's out at this point that I've got mowers that I'm giving away. So how do I do it in a way, you know, like everybody's gonna be reaching out to me and stuff like that. Like I don't know what your situation is. I hope that it goes to somebody that that really needs it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I'm going to do down the road because I'd also like to have, you know, my audience that may not come in contact with me. Like it was just random scenarios that allowed me to come in contact with both those individuals. But what about the people that are in California that I may never see, or, you know, Washington, or
Yeah.
somewhere on the East Coast or whatever? What about the people that I may never bump into? It'd be cool to give them a chance because I know there's guys that are struggling to start a business everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's guys that are just trying to make ends meet everywhere. Everybody's in hardship right now, and it's only getting worse by the day, man. I mean, I don't want to get political, but let's just be honest. In a non-political statement, our country's down the tube right now. That has nothing to do with anybody's political views. You can look at the price on everything and go, man, the dollar is just not stretching as far. So it's going to be harder to sell clients in the future because they're going to have to start saving money. And the thing is, we offer a luxury service. Since we offer a luxury service, themselves. So it's going to cut back to the people that have the expendable income, and then it's going to cut back to the people that have no choice. So your elderly and the people that are still making enough money that they're not hurting too bad.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, I still think we're safe because it gets hot outside. People don't want to do the work. Like that's a big plus is that people are lazy nowadays, and lazy in the sense that they would rather watch Netflix or something. So
Yep.
they'll do what they got to do sometimes to not have to mow. So that is kind of a benefit for us, but still, then you get the complex of, oh man, money's tight, and then the next thing is people are going to say we're in a recession. And then you go through that crap again where everybody's like, we're in a recession. And for the next 8 years past when we actually are in a recession, everybody's going to act like they have a broke mentality and that they can't charge what they have to, when really what they should be doing is doing the math on their business to make sure that they're charging the right amount. It's just like I was talking about with the contracts. That's business, man. I know what I'm worth. That's the business side of YouTube. That's the stuff that nobody understands and that I can't really talk about too much because nobody else, and I don't want to say nobody else, but not very many people have had those offers from companies.
Right. True.
But it's
True.
It's still work, man. It's the same as like when you watch a news channel. If they have a pop can on an ESPN or something, they're turning it around so the label's not showing. I'll paint my weed eaters black. That's advertising. If I'm offering something that brings value to them, they should reciprocate the value and show their appreciation.
Yeah.
Or, bring value to me so that I can continue that further. For me, I'm easy. Make sure that I can take care of my audience, bring somebody else up, and I'm happy. I don't care so much about my pocket. A lot of people think it's about the money and stuff like that. Yeah, long term, I have to watch that because I want to have success. I want to have, I've got personal life goals, and I want to make sure that my wife and daughter are taken care of. So the thing is, while I'm on a good run, I better play my cards right. But it's not a money thing for me.
Yeah, I tell my kids
Making
going nuts.
sure I bring value and impact and change and positive change. If I'm not ahead of all these other guys and doing stuff like that, I need to start thinking and making sure I'm doing the right thing, making sure my head's in the right place, deflate my ego, just constantly put others before yourself. I think it was Grant Cardone. Now, Grant Cardone's an arrogant guy, but he has great messaging for somebody growing a business. I think it's important to listen to people, even like that. But I would say be careful with Grant Cardone because that is a dangerous activity.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You can run yourself into the ground. But I will say one of the things he said is, you want to make $1 million, help 1 million people.
That's
a dollar from each person. And I like the concept of that because you're helping 1 million people. And the $1 million isn't what you're trying to do anymore. Now you're trying to help 1 million people. Who cares about the money? That'll come.
Yes.
Bringing value.
Yes.
Bring value to people. Everything else in your life will fall into place.
Yeah.
So who cares?
A lot of people put too much monetary gain, people want to put too much monetary efforts into everything, and they put monetary principles above humanly principles.
Yeah, people put their econ match just across the line into Tennessee. People put too much concern into small things, and the thing is, it doesn't take somebody that's a genius to realize the more money you make, the more money you spend. It doesn't matter how much money you make, it's never going to be enough. So if you're chasing money, it's an endless loop. Now, that's not to say that if you're in business, go do what doesn't work. Do what works as long as it brings you happiness and joy and But I don't know, on the other side, it's a trade-off because you're going to do things that you hate doing. I mean, there's times that I cut lawns, and you go through phases and seasons, and some years you're like, man, this really sucks. Or
Yeah.
like spring, you love cutting grass. Later in the year when it's hot, you're like,
I can't wait till fall.
yeah, this sucks. But it's just, it's a temporary thing. It's just a few weeks of like, okay, it's like a solid 5 or 6 weeks of just straight hell. You're burning up and it's miserable. But it's part of it, man. That's part of the grind that everybody talks about. So there's times with YouTube, I hate putting out content. I hate talking in a camera. I hate, just like you said with reading the comments, like people are quick to judge and think that it's so easy.
Yeah, everybody
Well,
always
no.
says, I'm gonna start me a YouTube channel and I'm gonna start me a podcast. It's like, you ain't got, I mean, not that you don't have, but you haven't taken the time to get the mixers, to get the computer, to get the microphones, to get the lighting. A lot of people don't want to invest in that because it takes time. Whenever I do stuff, like when I talk about the book of Jonah, and I've got a couple different podcasts that come up, I'm reading books all the time. I'm watching other people's content to kind of measure against mine, as a lot of people don't want to say that, but I mean, it's just the way it is. Like,
Learning,
I'm
the
learning.
emotional trauma, fortune favors the bold. If you're gonna have success, you better be willing to take a beating. So that's the thing. Like, I can love what I do. Like, I love going out and cutting lawns, and I love helping people. There's things that I don't like when you said you read the negative comments and it jacks with your head.
Yep.
I'm a glutton for punishment. I read a lot of comments, as many as I can, and I'll give them a heart, and I'll try to leave not a generic comment, but a legitimate comment to as many people as I can. Now the problem is it's getting to where it takes up a ton of time, and you get numb to the compliments that actually lift you up sometimes, and then when you see a negative one, it's like, damn, that hurt.
Right.
Well, it's not so bad when it's one, but then one, two, three, four, five in a several hour period, which it doesn't seem like much. Like for somebody to say, for somebody to think about somebody saying something negative about them 5 times, you just say, screw those people, whatever. But it depends on your headspace. One day you may say, screw them, and legitimately mean it, and be like, they're just in a negative mindset. They're in a hard spot in their life, because the only reason somebody's going to talk negative to you is because they're in a hard spot. They have insecurities about their own issues. They're not happy with their own life in some way. So some days you see it that way, and then other days you let it cut you like a knife.
Yeah.
And it's a deep wound that may be long lasting. It may kick you into a small depression.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have seasonality. So like for me, I know that I'm like an all or nothing, all in, balls to the wall kind of guy for about, I don't know, a certain duration of time. And then everything drops out, man. My body just crashes. I go so hard, so fast, and do so much in such a short amount of time, take so much on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the learning phase. You ever notice when you read books, you'll read, really enjoy it, consume it, and then there's a time where you have to reflect, absorb, and then try to actually figure out how you can place that in your life.
Yeah, I take on so much content sometimes. Sometimes I consume so much content that I felt like, let's say, I take in so much information, so much stuff I'm trying to learn so rapidly, quickly, to where I feel like at the end of it, I don't know if I didn't retain any. I took in too much. I didn't take time to reflect. I didn't take time to sit back and digest all that I just learned. So sometimes you just gotta
that
sit.
can definitely happen.
Yeah.
When you're grabbing too much from too many sources, then it becomes a mind soup of different ideas that you can't implement.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's a time for bringing information on, and there's a time for actually speed trap ahead. Gotta love Google, dude. It's on it. So there's a time for taking that information, the time for actually reflecting. But here's the other thing about, like, say, depressions. A lot of people think negatively about a depression. It sucks to go through that stuff, but it is honestly one of the best things for you in your life. Think about every time you've gone through depression.
Yeah.
Sucked. It was miserable. It was, you're tired. You don't want to do anything. You just hate life. You're in a funk that you just don't even want to peel yourself off the bed or the couch or whatever. And you get up and you go to work and you still do what you got to do and you zone out and you kind of just hate life and it's like a brain fog.
Yeah.
But when that depression is done, whatever problem you were working out, that's when the depression ends, is when you solve that problem. So like people that take medicine for depression, and I'm not going to say, I'm not a medical expert, but I'm going to say for myself, like, don't suppress the healing process that comes naturally with depression. Like,
Yes.
go through it and it sucks, but figure out what it is that you're depressed about
Yes.
and let your body and your mind heal that. And on the other side, you're going to come out lifted up and you're going to be a whole nother person that brings you to the next level. Because like, if you go through a breakup and it just tears you up and you go through like 6 months or a year of just pulls you down, you're feel like you're less than human anymore. And then when you come out of that, you have this extreme confidence that you've never had before. So I personally feel I embrace the depressions that come in my life. I hate going through depression, but now I recognize it and I'm like, oh, it's that time again.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do this. Like I'm not scared of it anymore. I'm not, oh, is this ever going to end? Because you have high highs and low lows, right?
Yes, sir.
Life's good when it's good, but when it's low, it feels like it's never going to end.
Yeah.
Kind of like with, with YouTube, people are like, oh man, if I could just make $1,000, my life would be great, right? You just make $1,000 extra a month, and I thought the same thing. But you know what happens when you make an extra $1,000 a month on YouTube?
You probably need an extra 1,500.
Yeah, it's just the same as your business. You build your business bigger, guess what? It starts eating more money. It needs more fuel. I don't want to stay small. I enjoy the growth of business in general. And YouTube for me is obviously a business. I'm on social media. So the growth, what it takes is it takes more equipment. It takes more time. It takes training, consulting and just a lot of stuff. But if you knock that kind of stuff out and you hit it head on and you take notes on what you need to do, well, after a while, you can have something really cool.
Yeah, and
And
that's
I get to things in the lawn business and take it to the next level. Like I don't want to be just the guy with a little lawn channel. And that's nothing against anybody that has a little lawn channel or anything. It's just I want to do greater things because that's who I am. I want to see growth. When you have a payroll job, I was that type of person at a payroll job. I worked myself to the highest position I could in that facility. And then when I was there, I wanted to learn everything that I could. But when I realized I was capped out, I was done. So, I may get into this, enjoy it for the next 10 years of my life, and then open up a new chapter. I don't know what I'm going to do.
yeah.
But right now, I'm all in, baby.
Yeah, so well, I was gonna ask you about like addictive personalities because me and you share a similar rather personality, and maybe a lot of people in this audience, or maybe some of the guys in your audience, maybe they have an addictive personality. What do you say to them guys who want to started a business? Because it was one thing that held me back was I was kind of nervous whenever I got in my depression funk thing in 2021, and everybody asked, "Where was you at?" Oh, I was in such a bad mental state. I was in such a bad place to where I thought, well, I jump in and out of hobbies and stuff all the time. I go headstrong. Maybe I'm just not ready. But no, I just needed to get my leg broke, if you will. That's what we harken back to that earlier. So, sometimes a shepherd has to break your leg. Sometimes God will have to break your leg so you could, so as the good shepherd, so he can tender you and heal you, and you can come walk in his path. But what do you say to people with addictive personalities, or maybe like they
All
just
right.
go all in? What do you think?
So there's something I've noticed from talking with other business owners. I've noticed guys that are military, have a past experience in the military, and did well there, do really well in business.
Okay.
And guys that have overcome addiction and they can turn their business into their addiction, do really, really well.
Right.
I mean, because they go all in. And that's what it takes is like commitment, going all in, creating a lifestyle around something where you don't want to change it. And part of just having any kind of successful business is just sticking with it. Like, even when it sucks, when you want to quit, when you think that there's no option and that you have to quit, if you just stay in, eventually you're gonna have a winning streak. It's gonna work. You're gonna figure it out. It's gonna click right. And that's part of that's really part of having a business. So, one of the things I told myself when I first started is you got to roll with the punches. You got to take the punches, right? I just kept telling myself that. I'm just getting punched right now. And life's just beating the hell out of me, but it's okay. So I'm going to beat this. And I would say if you have an addictive personality, don't get addicted to getting beat up by life and getting beat up by business. Like, figure it out. What is causing your pain and change it? Because
That's
that is
beautiful.
one side with the addictive personality is you may think you're addicted to the business, but you might be addicted to the pain of what's happening and the struggle story or the hardship. Like, sometimes it's easier to whine about the things that are hurting in life than it is to actually fix the things. Because sometimes it's really, really simple to solve a problem, but the emotional attachment to changing something makes the decision really hard.
That is brilliant. Yeah.
And so the easier thing to do is actually fix the fucking problem.
Yeah.
But it's harder to do it because you're emotionally attached to staying in the damn problem. So I know I've had that in the past. But guys that don't get caught up on the petty stuff don't have an issue with it.
Yeah. That's so true about the military guys. A lot of man, you're right about that. Or people who are cops or part-time lawn care guys, man, they start a great business.
Structure, man.
They got structure. And you look
at
consistency. I parallel it to my life where I never had any structure growing up. I never had any male role model ever. And it's like, no wonder why I didn't succeed. I never had any structure. I never had a man to hold me accountable for the things I was doing and not doing. And then when I started my business, I was all happy and go lucky. And then as soon as the major first wall hit, well, I turned back into a recluse because, I didn't have no structure. I didn't have my wife involved. I was doing everything on my own. Then I brought on people who I shouldn't have brought on. And it just, I didn't have the structure or the key or the time or I took the high highs and I didn't want the low lows. I wanted everything that came with it except for the low lows. And well, I got all the low lows. I got every bit of them, in which I needed them. Like when me and you, I mentioned it a second. Go ahead.
You let life beat you up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and me and you was talking earlier on the phone, and you mentioned, we talked about parallels in the Bible and life. Different things. We talked about the shepherd, the symbolism of a shepherd, and you said, "That's so."
In the Bible, it talks about being a lamb of God or being a sheep. And sheep are a dumb animal. So if you compare humans to a sheep, a dumb animal.
Right.
They'll walk each other off. If one walks off a cliff, they'll all walk off the cliff.
Yes.
They'll walk off and put themselves in danger, and they'll let the predator attack them because they're too stupid to realize. They all get scared and they run together. It's just they're a dumb animal.
Yeah, and we are that dumb animal.
I'm not saying they're not beautiful in their own way, and just like people can be beautiful, but they're a dumb animal.
Yeah.
So one of the things a shepherd would do. I don't know now how shepherds handle it, but if you look historically, what a shepherd would do is they would actually, if they had a sheep that walked off repeatedly, put themselves in danger, they would actually break the leg of that sheep, and they would carry that sheep on their shoulders. So, if it's got its leg broken, it can't walk off, but they would care for that sheep and have the one-on-one time with that sheep until it built a bond with its shepherd and actually followed the way that it should, so that this shepherd can take care of it. So if you look at that as a biblical aspect, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That you go through hardships in your life, but the Lord is with us the whole time. You know, it's your fault that leg's broken. You did something stupid. Things happen. It's not like the Lord's physically breaking your leg. You did the mistake on your own. You put yourself in that position. But the Lord's with us. And even when we hurt and we're whining and we're crying and we hate life and it just feels miserable and we want to turn away, the Lord's there. And if we open ourselves up to it, it all works back, man. It takes care of us. And if we listen to the signs that the Lord gives us every day, because it happens, if you listen and you make yourself open to it, life will lead you. That's why I went to Kentucky, man. Life led me there.
Yeah. That's such a great,
You know, like,
that guy, that Anton is a beautiful human being.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And of all the places you could have been mowing with you were with SB Mowing, of all the places you could have picked, of all the places he could have been, it just happened to be across from that guy who truly.
Yeah, what are the odds? It was his first time ever servicing that property. You know, as a brand new client. Like, what are the odds that he would be there or whatever? It's like when I started doing the tall grass stuff, man. You know, I said I was going to cut this yard, and then, you know, for me, I was listening to Charles Stanley, and I put that on the video, and that didn't really have anything to do with this story. But, you know, I told myself, I sat in my truck, and, you know, you can pray to the Lord. You can talk to the Lord with prayer just like you would talk to me or you.
Yeah.
Right? And so you don't have to be on your knee and, you know, bow your head and pray that way. You can pray in your head the same way people will say that they meditate. You can pray while you're working. You can, anywhere you're at, you can do that. So I prayed after that. You know, I was like, it was interesting. It was fun. I wasn't looking at it for benefits for the channel. I just thought it was going to be fun because I figured, I didn't think I was going to put a sermon on the damn video. I thought what I was going to do was talk about my experiences in the first couple of years. And I was like, this would be really cool to cut this because I can talk about what it was like to cut those crappy yards I was cutting the first couple of years. Because at that point in my business, I was only cutting nice lawns. Yeah. If the grass was 6 to 8 inches tall, I was like, oh man, it's super high.
Yeah.
These yards are going to suck this week. It's just, I've gotten so used to having it so good as a lawn guy cutting this stuff weekly. And I forgot what it was like to cut this tall stuff. Yeah. And now I'm in love with it and enjoy it because of the challenge.
Yes.
Like it brings me back to the nostalgia of starting. But my point is, I prayed to the Lord, and I was, you know, if I get a sign to go out and do this stuff, I'll do it again. And you know what happened? Less than 5 minutes later, I got a call from the city, and they said, "Hey, are you interested in abatement services?" I don't know what an abatement service is. I thought they said embankment, and I don't mess with hills. They said overgrown stuff. I go, okay, that's my sign. Let's roll. Let's do it. I hear you.
That is.
And then, you know, I got to talking with them, and I'm like, hey, how's this work? Well, if I cut the yard, they bill that person, and then they tack on administrative fees and paperwork fees. And if they don't pay it, they put a lien on it. If they don't pay it again, then they put their house up for sale. That ain't right. I'll just start cutting the list for free. So I started cutting all these. You know, the city sent me the list. It tells you whose house is vacant and whose isn't. If somebody lived there, I went and cut it for free. Not all of them hit the videos. Some of them did. Somebody didn't. You know, like, not everything I do makes it on the video.
Right, and that's.
I want to film everything that I do, but I don't.
My kids are going nuts right now. I don't know if you can hear him.
I understand. Anyways, I didn't mean to ramble on there.
No, yeah, you're good. I love it because it's like, well, look at the trend that's being set on YouTube, and look at all the yards. Like, who knows? That could be. Who knows the situation of the houses that some people are cutting? Some people, like me, I've been driving around looking for sidewalks that are like super overgrown on the side, and I'm going to do it for free, but I don't know the situation that the house is in. Now, the one that I find, maybe it's a single mom, and all these people that SB Mowing's doing, maybe, you don't know the situation. So when you got that sign, it's just so random. Maybe it is just, who knows? Who knows? It might just be random, but I don't know. That's a pretty awesome random, especially with the guy that you delivered the mower to today. The guy you couldn't have went to a better person. A guy who has talents, real talent. The guy's a WBC a WBC champion. He knows Sugar Ray Leonard. Well, knew Sugar Ray Leonard kinda. He wasn't like best friends with him or nothing. And he has a story, a beautiful story. And he looked around his community, found a need. Some people in his community, same situation. I was thinking of myself in that. And whenever he was telling me that story, it's saying like, around here, people don't have the money to do this. It's like, I come from the trailer parks. I come from poverty-stricken areas. No one can afford to get their lawn cut. That's silly. You know, why would you spend that kind of money when do something you can do on your own? All right. But he looked at it and he turned it into a way to bless people. Now, does he make money on it? Of course. But he's doing it in a way to where he can make money and take care of his family and also satisfy his clientele, satisfy his community. If you told me that he was to do free yards for people who need it, I would say, of course he does. That's the kind of guy he is. You know what I mean? I bet if you lived in his area and you said, hey, you know, I don't really know you, but so-and-so said that you help people out with getting work done. I bet he said, as soon as my schedule opens up, I'll come knock it out. Don't worry about it. That's the kind of guy he is. And that's the stuff that I see in your videos. And it's like, that's the kind of things that I want to see more of. I want to see more of Antoine's story. I want to see more of people going out instead of bragging about charging people because of this and that. And I get it. Charge higher prices if you need to. I totally understand that. But if it's for Granny down the street and you guys are from the same neighborhood, so you know it's not in a really nice neighborhood, and you know she's on a fixed income, and Brother Bill, her husband, died 10 years ago. She's been alone. You know she has this. You know she's on fixed income and having a hard time taking care of something simple as cutting grass. It's going to take you 30 minutes. You're going to tell me you don't have 30 minutes to go out there and help the beautiful older woman that's on Social Security in your own neighborhood? You don't have time? You want to charge her top dollar? Are you serious?
I look at it this way. So in your business, you know, what's really cool is business has evolved into allowing me to do this on a mass scale for people. And I don't want to mislead people that are in business and tell them, go out and do stuff completely free for everybody.
Right.
Because it would be a good way to run their business into the ground.
Right. Yeah.
What you can do is, if you have that spirit of helping people, treat it like tithing at a church. 10%.
Yes.
If you cut 10 lawns, or if you cut 10 lawns, cut one and let it be a freebie. And you don't have to do it free every time. Find somebody that needs it.
Yeah.
Give a little here and there. The cool thing is that as you grow, you can do that more. If you grow your business to the point where you have the expendable income to do the things that you wanted, that's your goal. If you want to help people, if you build your business up, you can use the funding from your other jobs to allow you to do that stuff. But first and foremost, it is unfortunate that it has to be said this way, but first and foremost, you do have to take care of your family,
right,
your personal finances, because the only way you can continue to help people is to make sure that you're taken care of. Because if you go negative, if you fall down, if things reverse in your life, you won't be able to do the same thing.
Right.
Like if I were to, I give freely all the time, and I want to give as much as I can. Like, I want to give more money away than I make, which is cool. But it's one of those things you have to. It is business, and it costs money. You do have to do the math, and you have to make sure everything's taken care of. Because the only way you can continue to do cool stuff is to know that you've done the business side and things. It's going to keep flowing. Like, even if you look at any charity, like Red Cross or whatever, they got expenses.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those big charities are kind of crooked, or they look crooked from the outside.
Yeah, Goodwill, stuff like that.
Outside perspective, you see the CEOs or whoever getting some massive bonus or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff to me is sickening.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's kind of like, I've seen channels do charities where they funnel the money through themselves,
Mm.
and that to me again is sickening. Don't do that. Why? Don't do that. You know, pump somebody's GoFundMe, pump a legitimate charity, whatever you want to do. But if you're funneling it back to yourself and saying that I'm gonna give it to this person, it's probably something shady.
Yeah, don't
You
worry.
know,
I'll give it to him. Don't worry. Yeah, right. I'm sure you will. I'm not saying you won't, but I would rather have a link directly.
I'm not gonna say any names, and I'm not bashing anybody, but I don't agree with things being conducted that way. And
Right.
so that's something that I've gone above and beyond because I didn't like the way it looked when somebody else did it. I made sure I did it different when it was my turn. You know, like I want it to be. I think people are. It's easier to freely give when they know there's no hidden motive. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And so,
100%.
yeah, and like I don't know. That's one of the coolest things we did last year is that